Hi, I'm Nino Gonzalez, and welcome to another episode of Making Sense. Well, I have my student and my co-host for this semester, Monica. And Monica, welcome again.
Thank you for having me again.
This is what your fourth show already,
Yes.
and I heard you said you want to sign up for more, right?
For more. That's what you said, right?
But it's been great, having you on the show and going through different topics. And, one of the things we were talking about was thrift stores. And I love going to thrift stores. And my son sort of like, when we're out and say, oh, let's go to the thrift store, he makes a frown. And then, but when we get in there, he usually, well, he's 15, and he'll usually find something. I said, I thought you didn't want to come.
Look who's having fun.
And then he tells my wife, oh, look, Dad's in a happy place. He's like, Dad's all excited to be at the thrift store looking
like
for
the candy
things.
store.
Yeah. Well, because it's like a treasure hunt, right?
Right.
And I guess you can spend, some time there and get some good buys, and you have to look. You really have to look.
That's what I was about to say. It's the kind of place where you have to actually go through things,
Right.
and you may find some treasures in there.
Right, and there's several that are affiliated, like for example with nonprofit organizations. For example, Savers, I think they resell the items, and some of the proceeds go to candle
Right.
lighters, correct?
I
And I think the candle lighter donation bins, what you put in there, they go to either candle lighters or they get transferred to Savers.
Right.
Right. And so what do you think about thrift stores?
I love them. I mean,
Okay.
as I mentioned to you, I actually, for when I was working, I actually would find some clothes to work, slacks, blouses that I can wear to work, and you find some good things there. Sometimes new.
Yeah, sometimes
you
new. They're
find
with
them
tags,
with tags
right.
on. Yeah. So I mean, I've always looked for my work clothes there because if
Right.
you shop at Macy's and places
Sure.
like that, it's so expensive.
But not only that, you find name brands. Like for example, some of my favorite shirts are like Columbia Sportswear or Land's End,
Right.
or LL Bean, and you find those type of items there.
Right, and
Or
actually
Eddie Bauer,
a lot of the retail stores
Right.
donate to them their extra inventory, their closeout stuff. They do donate that too, so you can find some good stuff.
Yeah, so I found some nice T-shirts and shirts that basically look brand new, and I always go through it with a possibly a fine-tooth comb and making sure that it's not stained or there's not
Right.
any visible wear. Or, sometimes you can find it like in the collars, and especially if it's a dress shirt, where you can sometimes see if it's yellowing or from the neck
Right.
stains.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's fun.
I love it.
Right.
I would go there more often if I could. But
And of course, there's Goodwill, and Goodwill has their donation centers, and then they have stores.
Right.
The Salvation Army also has a donation center, and they also have a store. But I think also with some of the items, they help the people that go there to the Salvation Army.
Yes.
But some of the things that happen with these items they can't sell, sometimes they go to third world countries,
Right.
and some of them are used, but some of them wind up in landfills.
right.
They wind up in landfills, and so sometimes by doing that, that's sort of like a hidden secret that a lot of these
don't want you to
nonprofits
know.
don't want you to know. But then you go and you're sort of messing with the environment of another country.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, that's why do you want to dump
Well,
it somewhere
look
else?
at what's happening with here in the city of El Paso with the recycling program. They sell the stuff to China, but now China doesn't want a lot of that stuff because they're saying that a lot of the recyclables that are submitted are not clean,
Right.
and they can't use them.
Okay.
And so then what do they do with it? It winds up in their
their
landfills,
garbage,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, and the city of El Paso was even, there was a city council meeting that was reconsidering whether they were going to continue the recycling program, because it seems like here in the city of El Paso, a lot of people don't know how to recycle.
Right.
You know, they dump in, if you're going to dump in, let's say, a can of soup, right, that you've already used,
Right.
at least rinse it out so it's
Right,
clean.
yeah.
Or, of course, many of them dump pizza boxes, which they don't want because they
It
already
has
have
the
the
food
grease
on there,
stains
yeah.
and the food stains.
And a lot of people don't know that, or I guess they haven't been informed.
Right.
So I feel like maybe we need to find a better way to inform people of the things that can be put to recycle.
Right, and so because when they pick it up, you know, the trucks pick it up, it goes to a sorting place where they have to manually go through the things, and
Right.
and they're finding that it's costing them more to sort that stuff out that the buyers of these recycling items want.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's a double-edged sword where we're trying to be green, but,
But we gotta do
it
it
does
the right
cost,
way.
you know, and that I would say about 5-10 years ago, it became the really big thing, recycling everything, you know.
Right.
And here at the college, you know, we do have recycling bins and stuff like that, and it helps when those items are sold, and it helps defray some of the college costs. But
Yeah.
how many students do you recycle?
I
Like your
try to
bottles?
as much as I can. Yes.
Right.
Yes. But like I said, we have to just inform people more of what can go in there.
Because sometimes I pass through trash cans and I see plastic
Stuff
bottles
that
in
could have
there
been
and
in the
aluminum
recycling.
cans
Yeah.
and, you know, things like
I
that.
know for a fact that a lot of people don't really care to do that.
Right.
They just throw it in the garbage and that's it.
Yeah.
So
and that's
I
the
guess
thing.
they don't see the big picture of
Right.
what it could do if you actually do recycle.
Right. And so, you know, there's other places. A lot of churches have thrift stores, and
Right.
and usually when I donate, I like donating, like to the rescue mission, because I know that they're probably not going to sell it. They're probably going to use it there within the ministry and the homeless people that
Right.
that they have there, that they're housing, or the Salvation Army, or you know, church thrift stores, because
Right.
they're helping their congregation, and sometimes they don't even sell it. They might help people that
yeah.
are in need within their congregation.
Right, not necessarily getting any monetary compensation
Right.
for anything.
Because there's always people in need anywhere, and I think here at El Paso Community College, I think we have something like that, like a food pantry, or I think we also have I think a close pantry where, you know, you can donate gently used items, and
Right.
if there's students that need that,
Right.
they can do that. And I know that one of the high schools, Burgess High School, started a program like that where they have a store, and people can donate gently used
Okay.
items for those high school students that can't afford,
Right.
you know, clothes, and they can either give it to them or sell them to them for $1 or 50 cents or something like that.
And I didn't know that.
Right.
I did know at community college we do have the food pantry,
Right.
which is great because any student can go if they're in need. They can, you know, go take, or they can also donate when you can. So it's a good thing because
Right.
you know, college on a budget.
And a lot of people also don't understand that they can donate, you know, clothes that their kids have outgrown, or like uniforms, to the school,
Right.
because they can help students that can't afford to buy those items, or sometimes a student might have an accident at school and they need something to change into.
Oh yes,
You know,
right.
so those are always alternatives.
There's
out
always
there.
need for those.
There's always need for those. But you know, I love going to thrift stores, and there's a big thrift store down Alameda Street, and I love going there. Usually spend about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just looking through things, and my
gonna
son
have to
just
visit that one.
my son just rolls his eyes, but then when he's in there, I said, "What are you getting? You know, I thought you didn't want to come." So,
It's always the ones that didn't
it's
want to
always
go.
the ones that didn't want to go that find something, right?
Right.
Yeah. But you know, I like going to the swap there by Escarate, and that one's really a true swap because you know, a lot of it is junk, but you know, you can find some items, especially tools, that maybe you're looking for a specific tool or a specific part that you can't buy or find anywhere else. You know,
Right.
that's usually my go-to place there, and I love
Right.
going there like on a Saturday
Sunday.
morning. You know, not in the summers, usually not Saturday too late
late.
because then
Those you have
it's
to do
really hot.
early.
Yeah,
You
it
have
gets
to be
too hot.
there.
Or unless it's a cloudy morning, then
Yeah.
and at the same time you're getting exercise and walking out,
Exactly.
walking around the entire place because that one is
Right.
huge.
Yeah.
And of course, got to haggle and negotiate here and there and stuff like that. But
Right.
these are some of the items. Like I think my wife found this item, a vase. I think it was $1, but it's pretty.
Yes, it
Yeah, and sometimes when we're looking at things like that, I would suggest people look at the bottom because sometimes they have. It could be an expensive item if it has a marking
Right.
or something like this. This one says made in China, so I don't think it's is that expensive.
But you do find some very pretty things
Yeah,
there.
so this is she liked this, and we use it as a flower vase or anything like that, and it's pretty colorful.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the things my son found, and this was at the swap meet, was an algebra book.
Okay.
Wow, and you're saying, what did he want with an algebra book? But this is if you look at it, it's brand new. It's like no highlighting, no writing, nothing. The reason he wanted this is because in high schools they're not given books anymore. They're all
Really?
electronic.
Yeah,
Just
everything's turning
just like
yeah.
in our classes where we have ebooks, and I still like the physical.
I'm gonna
book.
say that's my excuse for not opening my book because I use the ebook.
Do you read your ebook?
I
Yes,
do
you do.
actually.
But you see, what happens is that once that subscription expires, you don't have access to the book.
Right.
And I remember in my college days, I would have a library of books that I could refer to for my advanced classes.
Right.
And so now if, let's say you're an accounting major, you're not going to have access to that ebook
Right.
anymore. And what if you need something to review?
And that's actually the reason that I keep the book, and
Right.
then I keep all the assignments that I've had. I have them printed and I staple them together.
So he looked at this book and he said, I think I'm gonna take it because it has additional problems and more explanation because he does get tired of reading the book on the
Right.
computer and
Yeah.
and just I do too. I mean, I hate staring at the screen, and I think it causes a
eyes
lot
get
of
tired,
eye strain.
Right.
And that's, I think, one of the downsides with ebooks. But I'd like to sit there, and if I'm watching TV, at least you have the book, and
Yeah. And it could be helpful too because it also has extra problems in there
it
that
has
he
extra
can get
problems.
practice
That's
on
exactly
if he
right.
needs to.
Yeah. And this was one that was used here in Texas schools. So,
Right.
and like I said, look, it looks brand new. You know how much you got it for? Because the books usually don't sell at the swap meet. How much?
I have
And you know how much books are.
Oh yes.
How much do you think a book like this would cost at the bookstore?
Let's
Over
say
150, 200 bucks?
at the bookstore. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well
50
over.
cents.
Really?
50 cents.
I was gonna say like $5 or $6.
No, 50 cents.
Wow.
So, well, we'll come back and discuss more treasure finds at Thrift Store on the second half of Making Sense. Welcome to the second half of Making Sense, and I'm here talking with Monica about thrift store finds, and we went through some of the items that I found. And what other items and clothes have you found there at the?
Like I mentioned before, I found work clothes, just maybe workout clothes also
Okay.
are good to find there. I've found there's appliances that you can find there also. It is recommended though that maybe you have them test them out, make sure they
Right,
work
and also
before
check
you buy
them
those.
and make sure that since we all carry phones now, you can check to make sure that that item was not recalled.
Right, especially for cribs.
Right.
things
Oh
like
well,
that, baby
that's
car
what I'm
seats,
glad you brought that up with cribs, because that's one of the things that you should avoid
Right.
buying at secondhand
Right.
are cribs, because with some of the safety standards or things like that, especially older cribs, and the same thing with car seats.
Car seats.
Because sometimes you don't know if they've been recalled
Right.
or they're the most current safety version of that seat
Yeah.
that's available.
And since we're talking about that, there are things to actually stay away from when you shop at the
Right.
thrift stores. Like, say, I mean, I don't know why they would sell, but they to stay away from undergarments. Yeah.
You know, they do have underwear, and that's one of
Right.
the things they say to avoid buying. Would you ever?
No.
No.
I don't know why they would sell those there, but
Another thing is shoes.
yes.
Yeah, because you know, your shoes conform to your feet, and you don't know, first of all, you know, the quality of those shoes unless they're brand new.
Right.
You know, because you can find brand new items there, but you don't know the usage. You know, if the padding is gone, because your shoes conform to your feet for the most time that you wear them.
Right.
So they suggest that. What do you think another thing is?
I would say like bedding kind of stuff.
Well, you know, I had a lady here about pest control.
Okay.
And, you know, we were talking about bed bugs.
Uh-huh.
And so mattresses, definitely stay away from
the
mattresses
yeah.
because, you know, and sometimes a lot of those mattresses have stains.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
And you don't know what condition they're in, and you know you're going to be sleeping on them, and also could cause the transfer of bringing bed bugs home. And you know what she was saying is that a lot of these mattresses is what happens is people that are infested with bed bugs, they throw them out in the street,
Yeah.
and then guess what? Somebody else comes and what?
They
Picks
buy
it up. No, picks it up. Okay, and they might take it across the border, and then you've got the bed bugs even crossing the border.
Right. They spread quick too.
Yeah, so you know, bedding would definitely
Bedding,
be.
yeah.
Another thing that I've heard to stay away is bicycle helmets.
Yes.
And maybe football helmets is to stay away from that because you don't know if they've been compromised in an impact.
Right. And you can't tell.
And you can't tell. Yeah, so those are some of the things. Another thing that I've heard is computers or laptops.
Yeah.
To stay away from those because you don't know if they've been infected with viruses or how reliable they
I
are,
would
how
stay
fast.
away from doing electronics.
Yeah.
That'd be a risk.
I think some electronics are okay, but definitely, like I would think computer things. Maybe.
What about a smartphone?
How about a smartphone?
The used ones.
I don't
Would you
know.
buy one of those there?
Depending. I mean, they sell used smartphones
They
at like
do,
at
yeah.
GameStop or things like that. Or
That's true.
they have places.
That's
you know,
true.
I think they sometimes clean it out and stuff like that. And that's another thing when you're donating electronics like computers and cell phones. Make sure you delete everything and maybe wipe the drive.
Yeah, you have to do the
you
hard
know,
reset.
Yeah, but not only that, because even if you erase information from your hard drive, it can still be recoverable. But there's programs that will wipe your drive, and it does take, you know, it could take several hours depending on how big the drive is. Some people remove the hard drive,
Yeah.
and then just donate it without the hard drive.
Yeah.
And if you're donating your cell phone, make sure you take out the SIM card
Right.
and destroy that if you're not gonna use it on another phone.
Right.
So and a lot of people aren't aware of that, to get rid of the SIM card because that contains all your information.
Oh yeah.
So so you got to be careful on those items, and I would definitely but some of the things to buy are, for example, maybe dishes, you know, especially not I don't like plastic.
Right.
Like plastic dishes. You know, I like, you know, good
The
quality ceramic
ones.
dishes. And you can find that
You can.
at thrift stores, and those very easy to clean. I like drinking out of glass, not plastic cups. I think a beverage tastes better.
Yeah.
You know, when it's in glass,
Right.
especially a frosty mug of beer. But that's where I bought mugs, and you know, you have pint glasses,
Right.
and what do? I put them in the freezer and then serve my beer there, and it's nice and cold. And,
Right.
And so I found a lot of glasses, and the reason I keep buying a lot of glasses is because you always break them. You know, sometimes, you know, when as you're washing, or
happens.
you know, they break, and
Yeah.
oh, there goes my favorite glass. You know?
No.
So glasses are a good thing. One thing I would suggest is frying pans.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, the
You know,
cookware.
some people buy frying pans that look like they've been fried out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And the chemicals can get into the
that's
food that you're
that's
that you're
exactly
making.
right, because a lot of these have the Teflon coating, and it already looks like it's been scratched
Yeah.
off and all of this. It's no longer non-stick, because probably what you're going to be cooking on there is going to stick.
Right.
So I would definitely stay away from you know, frying pans or skillets, things like that. But then there's some other items that you might want, like glass baking dishes. You know, I've seen a lot of Pyrex at the thrift stores,
Right.
and those are good
Those are good,
quality.
yeah.
Those are heavy duty quality. So you know, you gotta pick and choose.
Yeah.
And books, definitely.
Yes,
You know,
buy books.
especially if you're an avid reader. Do you like to read?
You know, I like to read.
Do you read for enjoyment, or just for?
I have to read
you
for
have
school,
to read to school.
so I'm too tired to read for enjoyment. I don't want to read anymore.
My son says, "You have so many books, Dad. When are you going to read them?" Because I always pick up like a paperback novel. Or are you going to read that? Yeah, someday.
In the summer.
Someday I'll read it.
My goal is to read one book this summer.
Anyways, it looks impressive when you have company over and you have they think you're really
It's
smart.
just for
They,
show.
they think you're really smart. But you know, nowadays what you can also find there are movies, DVDs,
Right.
and usually for $1 or things like that, you might come across a favorite movie that you know you want to watch. You know,
Right.
especially holiday movies that you watch maybe once a year.
Oh, yes.
That you might want to buy, or exercise DVDs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me mention that my dad has actually gotten into buying DVDs like crazy,
Okay.
and he looks for the bargains. So he goes to like FYE and places like
Right.
that
Well,
to
have
find
you sent
some.
them to the thrift
I
stores?
haven't, and I'm gonna do
and
that.
send them to the swap. You
I'm
know,
gonna
the
do
swap,
that.
they usually have them like for 50 cents. They have them for $1, and he can get some good DVDs.
Right.
But always check them out. Make sure they're not scratched. You know, and you can hold it up.
Yeah.
Another thing are CDs. I mean, dude, what's that you're saying?
No,
What's a CD?
I love CDs.
Well, you know, now with music being streamed or downloadable or anything like that.
But I'm old-fashioned. I like to have the copy.
Right, and guess what my son found?
What did you
Some
find?
CDs, you know. He's big into classical music, and he found a Bach concerto, and you
Oh,
know, and all
really?
this, and I want to buy this, Dad, and all this.
Wow.
And so guess what else we had to buy? A CD player, and we found one, a Sony
I'm
one.
sure.
A Sony, you know, it was one of those round ones, and it's got the bass boost and everything.
Right.
The only thing it didn't have was the battery cover, but it did have the electrical connection. You
Oh,
know?
okay.
And anyways, this thing would use like 10 D batteries. Who's gonna to power it up? You know,
Yeah.
and so it's great. It plays CDs. It has a radio, and it also has a cassette player.
Wow.
And so he uses that.
That's awesome.
So, and
Yeah.
guess how much that cost?
How much?
$6.
Really?
Yeah, and it was
Wow.
almost in brand new
In
condition.
good
I wish I
condition.
would have brought it. Maybe,
You should've
maybe,
brought
yeah,
that,
maybe I'll take a
actually.
picture of it, and we can show
Yeah.
it. We can show it to the audience. But you know, I also buy clothes. Guess where this tie came from?
From
thrift store.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
The one on Alameda.
Okay,
Yeah.
your
and
favorite one.
they have a large collection of ties, because for me, ties is. My son says, "Why do you have so many ties?" It says because it's, you know, each day you could be in a different mood, and you want a
Right.
variety of ties. You know, you want to, and that's how you make the shirt look different,
Right.
or your suit look different is through the tie. And I found some really nice ties. You know, usually what I'm looking for is the all silk ties, but I found some really nice name brands. Like I found, you know who Jerry Garcia is?
Yes.
The famous guitarist from the
Yes,
Grateful
yes,
Dead,
yes,
and he also had some designs for ties.
Okay.
And you find those like at Macy's and at Dillard's, and they're real expensive. Well, I found some Jerry Garcia ties.
Did you? How much?
At the thrift store, usually for $1, $1.50,
wow.
$2. But I always check them, making sure that, you know, because sometimes they don't wear them.
They're
Because
brand new.
how many times have you seen somebody give a tie and they don't wear it and then they donate it?
All the time.
Yeah, so you know, always. So this tie came from there, and here's a coat that a sports coat that I've worn on some shows here, and this is an Italian coat.
Ooh.
And guess where I found it?
At the thrift
At
store.
the thrift store. Yeah, and guess how much?
I don't know.
$3.
No way.
$3.
$3.
$3. So, you know, it looks basically brand new. And so you have to look. You have to look, and here's a blouse that my wife found.
Okay.
And you know, she's already worn it a few times, but she loves it. It's very comfortable, and so there's items to find.
Oh yeah.
There's items to find and to save you money,
and it's just a matter of going through things, looking, taking the time to actually
and you know,
do that.
especially with ties, because sometimes you go out to lunch or dinner, you're wearing a tie and you get it stained. Why am I gonna pay $30-40 for a tie, you know, just to get it stained, or especially if you're eating spaghetti?
Right.
I don't think anybody's ever gone unstained
when they eat spaghetti.
when they eat spaghetti, right?
Right.
There's always, oops, a little dot
Something.
there. A little dot there of meat sauce and things like that.
Right.
But, you know, cups, also another thing, but there's a lot of great finds at thrift stores and to save you money. And some do it out of a necessity, and I've heard that a lot of your generation, they're going to thrift stores. They find it very
it's coming
trendy.
back.
They find it very trendy.
It's this vintage trend
Right,
that's
vintage,
coming back.
Vintage.
That everybody wants vintage
That's the key word,
things.
vintage. Well, thank you, Monica. It's been a pleasure talking to you about this on this show, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Making Sense and at the thrift store. See you next week. Bye-bye.